Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. This is part 3 of our series on the Brewster Buffalo's operations in Finland. Unlike in other theaters, this somewhat outdated fighter achieved remarkable success when flown by the Finnish Air Force's Squadron, or Lentolaivue 24. Brewster pilots downed numerous Soviet bombers in Finnish airspace during the early days of the Continuation War. As the Finnish army advanced, Brewster soon engaged with Soviet fighters as well. They continued to perform impressively, claiming victories without suffering a single combat loss. If you missed the first two parts, check the video description for the links. After a brief rest period in late August 1941, Lentolaivue 24 returned to combat. On September 12, the entire squadron was deployed to the Olonets Isthmus to provide cover for the advancing Finnish ground forces. On September 17, the fourth flight, led by Captain Petrozavodsk, encountered 14 Soviet fighters near the city of Petrozavodsk. The Finnish pilots initially identified their adversary as MiG-3s, but these were actually LaGG-3s from the Soviet 238 Fighter Regiment. Deputy Flight Leader Lieutenant Ika Toronen scored 3 victories in the engagement, bringing his total to 5. Toronen recounted fighting 5 MiGs and hitting one from behind, causing it to spin out of control. His second target was hit in a head-on attack, and with smoke pouring from the engine, the LaGG eventually crashed. As Toronen climbed, he spotted more Soviet fighters. By then, the Brewster pilots had regrouped and immediately launched an attack on the new enemy formation. Toronen shot down another from behind, while his fourth target managed to escape in a dive. Both the LaGG-3 and MiG-3 were more advanced than the older Polikarpov models the Finns had previously faced. Although these Soviet fighters didn't fare much better against the experienced Brewster pilots, their greater speed allowed them to disengage at will. Nevertheless, the Finns claimed 8 victories in this dogfight. The Brewster pilots still had to protect Finnish airspace from Soviet bombers. On September 19, a patrol of 6 aircraft led by Captain Karhunen spotted 3 SB bombers from the 72nd High-Speed Bomber Regiment near Pyhäjärvi, escorted by LaGG-3s of the 238 Fighter Regiment. The Finnish pilots mistakenly identified the escorting fighters as Polikarpov I-18s. Interestingly, the I-18 was only a theoretical project and never became operational, but Finnish pilots had apparently heard of it. Master Sergeant Lauri Nissinen distinguished himself in this battle. He saw 3 Tupolev SB bombers emerge from the clouds and level off just above the ground, flying at 50 to 100 meters of altitude. Nissinen circled above to check their markings and then noticed fighters to his left, which he believed were I-18s. This confirmed for him that the bombers were Soviet, so Nissinen quickly targeted the rightmost SB. Firing from close range, he hit its left engine, causing the bomber to catch fire and crash into the forest. The remaining Brewster pilots attacked the other two SBs, successfully shooting them down as well. As the Brewsters formed up to take on the fighter escort, Nistinen spotted a single fighter approaching from below. Unsure of its nationality, he dove away, then pulled up alongside it. Recognizing what he believed was an I-18, Nistinen throttled back and swung in behind. He opened fire, and soon the Soviet fighter was trailing smoke and fuel, but then the Brewster's guns jammed. Nistinen was able to remain on the LaGG-3's tail while manually clearing his machine guns. Eventually, he succeeded in unjamming two and finished off the already damaged Soviet fighter, whose pilot made no attempt to evade. Nistinen's Brewster took a few hits from the SB bomber's defensive gunners, but he only realized this after he landed. On September 23rd, the squadron's third flight continued their success against Soviet fighters. 8 Brewsters led by Captain Jorma Karhunen spotted 3 I-16s from the 155th Fighter Regiment, strafing Finnish troops near Petrozavodsk. For once enjoying numerical superiority, the Finns swiftly downed all 3 Polikarpovs. Lieutenant Pekka Kokko dispatched the lead I-16, firing from 100 meters down to just 20 meters, until the Soviet fighter plunged straight down. Following a pre-arranged plan, Karhunen instructed his flight by radio to return home. Instead, the Brewster pilot circled silently over the wilderness for 30 minutes, then returned to the same spot and caught sight of 6 more I-16s. Lieutenant Kokko recalled seeing 3 slightly above him. He pursued one, but his guns jammed and he had to break off. By the time he cleared his guns, other Brewster pilots were already attacking the I-16s. He then spotted another I-16 trying to escape at low altitude, caught up, and opened fire from just 50 meters. Of the 6 Soviet fighters, only 1 managed to escape. The Finns repeated this tactic on September 26. Once more led by Captain Karhunen, 7 Brewsters encountered 8 I-153 biplanes north of Pyhäjärvi. This time Karhunen took the opportunity to claim his 4th and 5th kills, thus becoming an ace. Despite heavy cloud cover, Karhunen spotted 3 I-53s flying low below the clouds and dove down to attack. He downed the leftmost fighter with a short burst, then pulled up and spotted another Chaika about 4 kilometers away heading southeast. He quickly caught up, fired from 100 meters and saw the I-153 crash. Other opportunities were missed, as several Soviet fighters evaded using the cloud cover. The squadron's first flight faced Soviet fighters the next day, September 27. 8 Brewsters under Captain Eino Luukkanen engaged 4 I-15s and 4 monoplane fighters over WWII. The Finns intercepted a Soviet aircraft as they flew just beneath the clouds. Sergeant Ginman downed an I-15, which exploded mid-air and earned him a solo victory. Two other I-15s were shared among 4 pilots, including Captain Luukkanen and the future high scorer, Lieutenant Hans Wind. Finnish forces captured the city of Petrozavodsk on October 1, 1941. 6 days later, Brewsters led by Captain Petrozavodsk surprised 15 Soviet fighters as they took off from Suopohja airfield. Soviets attacked an I-153 that tried to evade, taking a calculated risk by slowing down to stay behind a nimble biplane. The gamble paid off, and the Soviet fighter was hit and crashed in the forest. Soviets then attacked an I-16 flying at about 200 meters altitude from the side. The Soviet fighter flew through his burst of fire, but Soviets had to pull up to avoid a collision and did not see it crash. The Finns claimed 5 enemy aircraft before breaking off to avoid anti-aircraft fire. As winter approached, combat on the Finnish front was settling into a stalemate. Even so, Lentolaivue 24 and its Brewsters still saw plenty of action. If you've enjoyed this series and want more, let us know in the comments. And of course, keep watching Showtime 112.